Hello, everybody. This is Gary. Today is Friday, January 17th, 2020. It's 11:37 a.m. in Rochester, New York, in the United States. This is my coping with schizophrenia vlog entry for today. There's not much going on. Over the past week, I've been trying to quit smoking, and I haven't been able to do it. I don't know if it's the winter. I don't know if it's my mood. But all I've been ended up doing was chewing a piece of nicotine gum, having a cigarette, chewing a piece of nicotine gum, having a cigarette. Um, the only thing I was accomplishing was adding more nicotine into my body than if I was just smoking alone. Because my smoking didn't reduce any at all, and I was still using the nicotine gum. So for now, I've stopped. I'm still scared of dying. I don't, want to smoke. I don't want to die from emphysema or lung cancer or a heart attack. But right now, I just don't seem to be able to quit smoking. So I'm going to wait until the spring before I try again. What happens between now and then, I don't know. Um, it's just extremely difficult to quit smoking when you smoke a pack or more a day, which I do. Um, I will give it another shot in the spring. Um, right now it's 11:39 a.m. I just checked the weather. It's 14 degrees out. It snowed yesterday, and so it's pretty cold. In Rochester, there's a men's shelter, also a women and children shelter from the same church called Open Door Mission. When the temperature drops below 20 degrees Fahrenheit, not Celsius but Fahrenheit, they call that a code blue, and that means the shelters will not turn people away from spending the night in the shelter. No matter how crowded it gets, they let you spend the night there. And it's definitely cold blue right now. It's 14 degrees outside as of 11 a.m. in Rochester, New York. And people who are homeless who go to the shelter will not be turned away. I believe the shelters open up like 7 p.m. in the evening and close again at some point in the morning, like around 7 a.m. So even if you are able to spend the night in a shelter, they make you leave in the morning. That's at least as far as what I remember when I was in a shelter. I was homeless for 30 days and had stopped taking my medicine, quickly slipped into psychosis, and spent 30 days or so homeless. That's the only time I've ever been homeless. And that was enough for me not to make sure that happened again. Um, I take my meds, I pay my rent, keep the apartment clean, don't cause any trouble, because those are the things I didn't do when I became homeless. And I had trashed the apartment I had, and this is like 15, 20 years ago. Um, and I quickly became evicted and homeless. I ended up being lucky though because I had Social Security, supplemental security income coming in. And so while I was homeless, I was still getting a monthly check into my checking account. And I was able to pay a new landlord for a room. Not an apartment because apartments are harder to find. You have to have good references, that kind of thing. But I was able to rent a room and prevent myself from having the need to go back to a shelter. The shelter sometimes could be more dangerous than the streets. People are mentally ill who use drugs who go into the shelters. Their personal problems, their mental illness, their drugs, their drug use often follows them into the shelters, causing them to be violent, dangerous, steal things, that kind of thing. Some people that I know would rather be out on the streets rather than in some of the shelters. And that's true across America, especially in the larger cities. Rochester's a city that's relatively small, between like 500,000 to a quarter of a million people, I think, in Rochester. Um, we're in Monroe County, New York State, so it's about 500,000 if you include the whole county. Obviously, cities like Los Angeles San Francisco, New York City are larger and have a larger homeless population. Um, I don't completely understand how somebody who's mentally ill would stop taking their medicine or continue to use drugs, because the reason that they don't have disabilities is that they used to have it. But it makes no sense for the Social Security Administration to pay disability payments to people who continue to use drugs and don't stick to treatment, um, and who are mentally ill who won't take the medications. At some point, Social Security is going to say that if you have a disability, you have to get it treated. And if you're not, then you're not going to receive payments. So I think that's why a lot of homeless people who qualify disability don't have it, because they were given chance after chance and they were not able to keep up with treatment. And I'm specifically talking about mentally ill people and people who are addicted to drugs and alcohol. I used drugs. I stopped a long time ago after I got out of college in like the early 1990s. Um, the last time I had a drink alcohol was 5 years ago, and before that, I hadn't had a drink for 15 years. So I don't drink or use drugs except for nicotine, which is a drug. Um, but to me, being homeless in the cold when it's 14 degrees outside um, is enough to be equal to physical pain, and it is physical pain. 14 degrees when you're homeless is physically painful, and that was enough for me not to become homeless, to take my meds regardless of side effects, not to use drugs, not to use alcohol, regardless of withdrawal, and that would be enough for me not to be homeless. So I don't understand how people who are mentally ill, who still feel physical pain, are not motivated by the cold weather to stick to treatment, to stick to the medicine, and to stick to not taking drugs and alcohol. But then, who am I to speak? I can't even get off cigarettes. Um, Today in Rochester is what's called the Code Blue. The Open Doors mission won't turn people away because it's below 20 degrees and it'll be even colder at night. So tonight, nobody will be turned away. But if it gets up to like 22 degrees, technically, that's no longer a code blue. And if you show up late at the shelters and there's not enough beds, you could be turned away just because of a few degrees in temperature. That's not the fault of the shelter. They're overwhelmed and they're simply trying to follow their own rules. But I'm grateful for everything that I have. I have to be. Um, I'm not homeless. I have food. I try to keep to my daily schedule, try to keep myself healthy as possible. The last major obstacle to my health is my smoking cigarettes. Um, but I guess that's all for now. Today is the 17th. I'm seeing my psychiatrist next week on the 23rd, and my primary care physician next week on the 22nd. I will definitely talk to them about quitting smoking and finding new ways to try to do it. I tried using Chantix, which is a prescription drug that doesn't have nicotine in it, but it caused me to have worse psychiatric symptoms, so I couldn't use it to quit smoking. It was causing me to hallucinate and have paranoia and delusions. I actually ended up in the psychiatric emergency room for it. The Chantix didn't have me admitted into the psychiatric hospital, but I felt it was necessary to go there to get evaluated. And they told me to stop taking Chantix. So Chantix is not an option for me to quit smoking. So I guess that's all for now. Comment, like, subscribe, share, press the bell notification button for new videos. If anybody has any new ideas for a video topic, let me know in the comment section. And keep warm. It's cold out.